What is going on, YouTube world? I'm your brother Reza. This is KRT LYFE. This is your sister Kat, and today we are doing a car review.
I just want you all to hear it.
So we are here today. We are reviewing a car again. Oh my God, it's been a while. What are we looking at today?
It's been a while, but we are looking at 2019 Volkswagen GTI.
And this is the, it's called the Autobahn edition, so that's also really special and really cool about it. We had a GTI actually. We had a Mark V GTI, and that was one of our favorite cars. So I'm really kind of curious today to figure out how the Mark VII holds up to the Mark V that we had. Looking at it aesthetically, it's a pretty good looking car. It's a lot more angular and sharper than the Mark V that we had. The Mark V, as most of you guys will know, was a more rounder, more, I guess, like aerodynamic looking car. But this is a little bit more angular and more sharp. I like what they did with the front fascia of the vehicle. I like the way that the lights are all kind of like pointy. You said you like the what?
The red, the strip.
Yeah, the red strip is really
Nice
cool. That's
addition.
really addition. I like how the red strip goes like from here across the front grille, and then it's also continued into the actual lights. I actually did not notice that initially. These actual headlights, they kind of look like the head of a transformer. Like
They do actually.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
So I kind of like that look. It looks like it has like a lifelike look. I think it looks pretty good from the front end versus the Mark V. What do you think?
I definitely like the newer body style. I always like the edgier looks on it versus the rounded, because we've had the GTI and we've had the Jetta.
Yeah.
And the Jetta
we
was
had the Jetta
definitely
too,
more angular than the GTI. So I do prefer this look. I feel like it looks slicker.
Yeah, so it's slick and it looks pretty stylish and sporty. I can dig it, and I like this little ridge right here. Like little lines like this, I notice little body lines like that more than a lot of other stuff. And it just gives it a nice, I guess, I don't know, full feel to the front of the vehicle. Wheels, what do you think about the wheels, Dave?
I never was a fan of GTI wheels. The older ones, the rounded, I feel like these a little better for me than the rounded ones, but that would be up to me. I definitely would have taken these off.
I think this car could use some really nice black wheels, but obviously y'all know that I love black wheels. Body lines coming down this way look good. This one is actually a 4-door. The one that we had was a 2-door, and I don't know which one I like better. You like the 4-door or the 2-door better? And 2-doors aren't even being made anymore. Our buddy Chris right here just informed us that 2-doors are no longer.
I'm not really sure what the reason is behind it, because I know there's some people who hardcore 2-door fans, and some people are hardcore like 4-door fans. Depends, I guess, what you use it for. For us, having a child, it's definitely more convenient to have a 4-door.
But even the 2-door wasn't bad with the kids.
But the 4-door wasn't, the 2-door wasn't bad as a kid.
The sunroof is massive. Now, if you come a little bit closer, you can see how big and awesome this sunroof is. Now, I know I've read and seen that these sunroofs in these vehicles are plagued with problems. This one does not have any problems. It doesn't have any leaks, knock on wood. But it's a massive sunroof, and massive sunroofs are always a plus. We looked at the outside. Aesthetically, yes, nice.
Absolutely.
Now we're gonna go on the inside and look at some of the inside aesthetics and see what that looks like. Now one of the best things about a hot hatch is the actual functionality of the actual vehicle and usability of the vehicle. And GTIs have tons of usability.
Yeah,
even if you get a 2-door GTI, you still can put lots of stuff in it. There's a big open cargo area here, so putting boxes and stuff like that in are no problem.
Lay your seats down and fit even more stuff in it.
Yes, lay your seats down.
Which is really good.
Under here, I guess, is where the spare lives. Yep, there's a spare here. Is this a subwoofer? I think that is a subwoofer. It says Fender on it. Yeah.
Has to be.
That is a subwoofer.
Oh, I did not know that.
Go. So there's a subwoofer mounted in the actual spare tire. So I'm really digging the back of these things. And when we had the Mark V, I mean, it was epic how much stuff you could stuff in that car. Now let's go into the other doors. So let's start, I guess, with the rear passenger doors. Look inside and see what it looks like in here. How are those seats?
The seats are pretty comfortable. I mean, for a back seat, there's a lot of room. Like, I still have a bunch of room in front of me. Seats a little bit different than Jetta seats, though, I gotta say.
Those GTI floor mats are pretty sick. Like, I like plastic floor mats over carpeted floor mats because they just last forever. And then mud and snow is not really a big problem. So this is the center console cup holder. How comfortable is it back there?
It's comfortable.
Actually, let me jump on the other side. Let me see.
Come in. I like these lights. Like, the lights are definitely look a lot cleaner than they used to. Like right here.
Oh, nice. Oh, so LED lights in the top. I mean, and it has a lot of headroom, even though it's like, you know.
I think it's comfortable
nice.
Back here.
A lot of headroom, a lot of legroom. Now, mind you, we're both like, I guess, on the shorter side of the U.S. demographic.
Like 5'7"-ish.
Yeah, for us, like this is like plenty of room. This is very comfortable.
Very
Actually,
good.
These seats are good.
Let's see what else we can see over here.
So the back seats on the GTI are extremely comfortable. Now we're going to look at the front seats on the GTI and the whole front cockpit area and see what that's all about. So it has a typical VW Volkswagen door that's been around, and it looks a lot like the Jetta and the other GTIs and the Golfs and stuff like that. You step on in, you have an illuminated door sill, which a lot of cars have, which is a cool little feature, and it adds a nice aesthetic to the car. I like the way the shifter looks, this little like golf ball looking thing, because it's a Golf.
Aw, how cute. I do like the steering wheel. I like how the
yes,
like thicker and then smaller looking steering wheel.
You know, this steering wheel almost looks like the newer Porsche steering wheels. It's very close.
That's true.
Very similar in look, very similar in design, and I like it a lot. It looks good, and I like how everything looks like seamless with this like piano look. I like the way that this piano black theme goes from all the way across, and it looks like one seamless piece of piano black plastic or lacquer or wood or whatever type of material it is. And I even like the way that the sat-nav infotainment system kind of just like blends into everything.
I actually like the way they did this a lot because there's no actual buttons, like separated buttons. Everything looks just like one piece of glass with a touch screen, which makes it look a lot cleaner and a lot better. I don't really like buttons that much, so if I could have one button do everything, I would have got that.
Yep, and we got your start stop right here because it has keyless ignition and keyless entry. And I love this. I loved how
slides.
Yeah, this sliding handrest thing. My my Mark V had this thing. I don't even know how to operate this thing. How does it go? There it goes. Yay! I love this because, I mean, comfort is detrimental, and if you can adjust your car more to fit your body type, it just works all a lot better. Like, that's one thing I hated about my 996. My 996 would probably only been comfortable for a person that was over 6 feet tall, and I'm not over 6 feet tall, so my 996 was not very comfortable, but my 997, because it's more adjustable, is a lot more comfortable.
Definitely.
Massive sunroof. You want to talk about that?
The sunroof looks actually really good. I was very surprised the size of the sunroof on here. I expected to see a lot smaller sunroof. I think it looks a little different than typically a sunroof goes into the roof. This actually goes on top, but it still looks pretty slick. I like how all this is done and everything is like very clean.
Oh wow, look at this
very
mirror.
clean. Mirror is amazing.
Wow, I didn't even notice that.
This is a nice touch. I didn't
Yeah.
have that on my Jetta. I absolutely love this. It's such a simple feature, I feel like, but I use that a lot.
The floor pedals. So this aluminum this not brushed aluminum, but these aluminum accents from the steering wheel continue into the floor pedals. So you got your footrest, you got your clutch, you got your brake, and then you got your accelerator. And they all have this brushed, polished aluminum chrome look with the rubber inserts. And that's the attention to detail
really good.
is really, really good. But I'm really impressed with this car. I like the way it looks, but let's see how this thing works. So we're gonna go ahead and crank this thing up, and it has keyless entry, so it should just start just like that. And it gives you a nice little welcome, and it tells you that it's running.
Clean.
It has the Fender Premium audio system, which I think is only on the Autobahn edition Volkswagen GTIs. But we're more interested in how this thing drives and if it really holds up to the Mark V and everything that we loved about the Mark V. So let's go for a ride and see what this thing is like.
All right, so we are in the car. We have a couple of extra passengers. There's Sonia Blade, of course, in the back.
Blizzle, and we got our friend
we got
Chris
Chris.
right here.
Hey,
Gears and
girls.
Queers. Gears and Queers, right?
Gears and Queers.
Yes, YouTube channel. Definitely check him out. This
I'll
dude
put the
knows
name
his
down
stuff.
here.
Well, they know their stuff. Like I was very impressed when I met them, and I checked out their content, and like his knowledge of vehicles, I think it might even be further than mine. Like he knows all the specs and all the really cool stuff that you need to know.
Yeah, but Reza knows how to repair just about anything.
Well, right now we are like at a very special moment because we are inside of this 2019 GTI Autobahn edition, and initially, let me just tell y'all, just cranking this thing up and driving this thing, like yesterday I drove my 997 all day, and this car feels like literally completely different, like pretty much as far on the other opposite end of the automotive spectrum as I think you could possibly go. Like versus like in my 997, everything's like kind of like It's heavy. Everything is very tight. This is very light and very loose feeling, but not in a bad way. It feels very different. What do you think?
It is as quiet almost as Tesla.
Yeah.
Actually, when you come to a complete stop, Tesla is like really quiet. This feels exact the same way. It's very clean. It's very comfortable for being like a little sporty looking car. I like the seats. Definitely like Jetta seats. I think these are a little deeper. They hug your body a little more.
Mm-hmm. It's super quiet on the inside. And the seats, now, when y'all reviewed this car, Chris, you guys said that y'all didn't find these seats that comfortable, right?
We said that we thought they were comfortable for us, but we're kind of like, not too big, not too small. Anybody that was like taller than us, and maybe people that were a little bit shorter than us, might not find it comfortable. That's what we thought.
Now, I find these seats like extremely comfortable, and I think I have like a decently wide back, but I feel like it's just perfectly squeezes up to me. Now, I do notice that when I get in it, because I'm not used to this car, this bolster on the side by your hip, it kind of like, I sit on it and it jabs me. I'm like, well, what in the world is that? But outside of that, I actually really, really like the GTI seats a lot. Now, our other one, our Mark V, it had the cloth seats, the cloth plaid seats. This one is leather and leather, and I actually like this leather and leather a lot.
I do too. Nice, red stitching is definitely a nice touch. They hug you very nicely.
And they're very, very soft and very comfortable. And it's just a really comfortable, quiet car to drive around in. Now, the 997 that we have, it's a lot louder, I feel like, as far as the engine, as far
definitely
as inside
louder.
Of the car. Everything
Definitely
feels
louder.
like a lot more like, grrr, where this feels like, I definitely see why people say, like, okay, this is a very, very good daily driving car, but we're also in normal mode right now. This GTI has a lot of different driving modes, and you can adjust them right here. If you pull the camera around this way, you hit this button, and you can adjust the driving modes on the fly. So we got comfort, we got eco, we got, go back. We got sport, we got custom, and driving around normal is actually really soft and placid. So what we're gonna do now, we're going to switch over to sport mode, and we're going to see what that feels like. And now we are recording. All right, so now we have mounted the camera to the dash.
My hands are free.
So now she got the hands free. I don't know why we just didn't do that from the go. Why didn't we?
Because he wanted to show you things inside the car, so he's like, you're going to have to hold it. And I'm like, I know how this is going to go.
Yeah, because the whatchamacallit system is so cool, the sat-nav system. All right, so here we go. We're back out on the road. We're going to go into sport mode. And then we're going to, see how that changes the dynamics of this vehicle. So now we are in sport mode in the Autobahn edition. Man, these brakes are sensitive. In this Autobahn edition GTI. And we're going to go down the road. All right. It is a lot louder. But that's artificial sound, right?
That sound, yeah. In sport mode, I think they call it the sound doctor. It's like pumped in engine noise.
Huh.
It's louder than it is in comfort or eco.
So it's coming from the speakers, or is it actually coming from the motor?
The speakers.
Ha ha!
It's through the audio system.
Wow, that is interesting. It's not as, I guess, it's not, well, I don't know, maybe I thought it was going to be louder.
That's what I thought. I thought it was going to be also louder.
Can you turn it up?
It's not as obnoxious as I thought it would be for being a fake sound.
Can we change it to like sound like a Pagani or something?
That would be something.
The shifting is really, really good. The clutch is good. But you definitely like feel the difference between driving this and I guess a heavier car like a 997.
Well, and also a 997, I feel like we definitely sit a lot lower.
Yes, it's a lot more extreme.
And it's a lot more narrow.
Yeah.
Or it feels narrow.
Inside,
I should say.
yeah.
Inside it feels narrow. So it's definitely a completely different feel, obviously.
Yeah, this is a very interesting, different drive. So I guess I'm gonna loop
Some
around
people
and
probably
look
say,
back.
why you guys even compare 911 to GTI? But hey, there's two cars that we love the most,
Do
I
you think
guess.
that's a good comparison?
I think that's something that somebody would cross shop. This was like about like $36,000 new.
Mm.
I used 997, something around there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something that you could see somebody doing. Brand new hot hatch or used 911.
I think if you're going for like comfort and daily driving,
You're gonna stall right here.
I don't know. Like it's close because I can see arguments for both. Like I can see an argument for this, And then I can also see arguments for a 911. Like,
absolutely, but you are a very biased person, so that is not going to be a legitimate question for you.
Okay, so which one do you think I'm going to say is better?
Porsche. No, he loves that car way too much to pick this as a daily driver versus 911 or 997.
But this is so good, though. This is so good. It's so comfy. Like, I love the steering wheel. I love the seats. Like, I literally love, like, everything about this car.
Okay, so this morning we're, getting ready before we shoot. And we watch a few videos to see what other people think about the car and stuff like this. And a few things I've heard is that people say after 60,000 miles, they start having a lot of problems. In one video, this guy said that one of his friends, they live in Germany, weren't they?
Yes.
And she works for Volkswagen. And when he mentioned that to her, that people having issues or kind of try to get rid of this car before it hits 60,000 miles, she was very surprised and she didn't understand why. What do you think about that? What's your opinion?
So I have, now that also I have mixed feelings about. I feel like sometimes in the German market, you get slightly different, not the German market, I'm sorry, in the European market, you get slightly different models and different variants and different engine combinations that in some cases can be a lot more durable, because I'm sure in Germany, a lot more people are probably buying diesel Golfs and stuff like that. So there's probably I guess more reliability there. Versus here in the States, people are buying like almost all petrol or gasoline engines. So these gasoline engines probably aren't as good as the diesel engines, I'm probably thinking, and maybe some of that goes into the reliability and people thinking that the car's not going to last. But I think a bigger part of that is the way that the individual users take care of their car, because people in Germany typically, because it's a car culture country, they take better care of their cars, versus I feel like in the United States, people are a little bit more sloppy with their cars. Like they'll skip maintenance, never put oil in it, never do any type of preventative maintenance, and just expect the car to drive forever. Versus in Europe, I don't think people really think like that.
So my opinion as a foreigner and who grew up around cars, my dad is a car person, my mom drives, like Europeans are very different. First of all, back in Ukraine is a lot more expensive to own a car. So when you actually get one, you really take care of it. You treat that like it's your most prized possession, because you put a lot of money into that thing. And I know that from a personal experience, growing up there. Another thing is, I also realized after I moved to the United States already, the quality of the same car in Europe versus in US is completely different. What we think in US is crappy car, in Europe gonna be one of the really good cars, and people actually will have a really good market for it and they're high demand. So I think that's why that was the whole debacle, why she was so surprised, why people here only have it to like up to 60,000.
You got any thoughts on that?
I think that it could just be a situation where people, like you said, in other countries are so much more into their cars and they might be more forgiving of them. So like, if you like German cars, you're going to accept that they might have a little bit more maintenance required or need more attention from you.
Right.
And if you're a car person, you might be willing to accept that. If you're not a car person, maybe you're not. If you just want like the car to get you to and from work, and you buy a GTI and a check engine light comes on for something like a sensor, you might be less willing to forgive that than somebody that is super into German cars.
I think it's a very good point, because back in Europe, everywhere you go, if you guys travel like we do, the public transport is so much more developed. So people have a lot of other options. They don't have to own a car.
Right.
In US, in a lot of places, you cannot go without the car. So yeah, you want something that's going to drive for 100 years with 2 oil changes. And realistically, obviously, that's not going to be possible. So I think that's a very good point, Chris.
GTI Mark 5 that we had, it had how many miles on it? I think it had like 150,000 miles or something crazy.
Believe so, yes.
It was really, really high. But it still ran pretty good. And the only reason I even got rid of the Mark 5 that we had was because it had a high pressure fuel pump check engine light that kept coming off. Maybe it was 120,000 miles.
And he got bored.
And no, I didn't get bored. I loved that car.
He did like the car, but he still got bored.
I got frustrated with that darn check engine light, man. That check engine light kept on coming on, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to switch this thing out and get something else. And I had too many cars sitting around at the time, because we had like, what, 4 or 5 cars? 4 or 5
cars at that time, yes.
Yeah, so it was just too much going on.
And then, like us owning a Jetta for quite some time, I think that Jetta been since 2014. So I had that car for 4, 5, 6 years. That car never gave us any problems either.
No, the average it was actually really good. How many miles was on it when we sold it?
I want to say it's around 140,000.
Gotcha. So do you think this is a good, viable daily driver? Would you?
Absolutely. I absolutely love GTIs. If I would have got another car and something, apart from what we have, like we had Porsche, we have a truck, and just get like something compact, fuel efficient, and fun to drive, my option would be definitely GTI.
Yeah, I agree. And I guess to wrap it up, what are my overall general assessments of the GTI Golf Mark 7 Autobahn edition? This thing has a long title. It has a long name. Let me think. Let me wrap my head around how I feel about this. Does it hold up to the Mark 5?
Yeah, I think it's a step up from it.
I think, okay, so internally, as far as looks, aesthetics, comfort, all that kind of stuff, I think the Mark 5 was really good. This is incrementally better. I would say I don't feel like it's a massive step forward. Like, for instance, when you get out of a 996 and you go into a 997, that is a huge leap forward into a whole nother time. It's like going from the 60s and then waking up in the 90s or something like that. It's just like a massive step forward. Yes. Or actually maybe the 60s into the 2000s. But going from a Mark 5 going from a Mark 5 GTI to this Mark 7 GTI, I don't feel like it's a massive step forward, but it is definitely a huge improvement. And I think a big part of that might have that trick aftermarket radio in it that I forgot about. Remember that?
Yes, we did have aftermarket. We had a touchscreen aftermarket radio in it, and definitely probably made it feel closer to this. Yeah. But
everything feels the same, slightly a little bit better, a little bit more refined, but it feels pretty much the same as a Mark 5. Now, I didn't really get to mess with the limited slip diff and really try to burn out and do all that kind of crazy stuff, because I don't like doing that kind of stuff to other people's cars. But I've been told that it doesn't have as much torque steer as the Mark 5s had. And my Mark 5, I used to do burnouts in that thing every single day when I would leave my house. Yes. And that thing torque steered really bad. But I kind of thought it was fun, because okay, which way am I going to go today? And it was so bad. When I sold that car, the actual I believe it was a driver's side tire was completely destroyed. Yes. It was down to the steel. So I mean, I had fun and I got my money out of that car. It was a great car, and this one is fun too. But I feel the improvement from the Mark 5 to the Mark 7, it's incremental jumps, but it's not a massive leap forward. You got anything to say on that, Chris?
Well, if you watch our review of this GTI, you'll know that we think it's the perfect daily driver. Mm-hmm. So, in terms of Mark 7 over Mark 5, I think the biggest improvements are the interior. I think the same GTI aspects, the great handling, the versatility, all that is still true. Mark 5 versus Mark 6, anything versus Mark 7, all the same.
I agree.
Better creature comfort is what I think it comes down to.
Yeah.
Definitely feels fancier in here versus the Mark 5.
Yep. So overall, a little bit better aesthetics, a lot better, interior aesthetics, but still that same GTI feel that we've all come to know and love over the years. And this is literally one of my top 3 vehicles ever. And that list kind of does change, but GTI always stays in one of my top 3 vehicles. It's Porsche 911, G-Wagon, GTI, and then Land Cruiser kind of gets in there between GTI. But I guess that's it. I guess that's it for this review. We are KRT LYFE, KRT LYFE with a Y. Like, subscribe, comment, and all that cool stuff. Make sure that you subscribe and check out our friend Chris right here, Gears and Queers. They got an amazing YouTube channel. These guys are hilarious, and they really, really, really know their specs and know their stuff. When I saw their content, when I met him, I was just like, oh, okay, you got a YouTube channel. And then I saw his stuff, and I was like, man, he really knows what he's talking about. So I was super impressed. So make sure you check him out. And I guess that's it. You got anything else you want to add, bro?
I think that's it.
That's it. All right, y'all. We out of here. Peace.